Good evening. We are going to begin the Community Preservation Committee meeting. We still have a few people who we expect to come in, but we'd like to start moving things along. I'm going to read the chairperson's statement. This meeting is being recorded by the Community Preservation Committee. If any other persons present are doing the same, you must notify the chairperson at this time. Oh, good. I see too. Travis is coming. Okay. Seeing none, I will then call this meeting to order, and we'll do the roll call of the members. Becky? Here. Donna? Here. Wisty? Here. Garth?
Here.
Sarah? Here. Victor?
Here.
Travis? You are muted or something. I don't know what's happening here. We see Travis. We can't hear you yet. Okay. And then Jack is not here. Okay. All right. And it was wonderful that and Jack is here. Jack has just entered the waiting room. Okay, so we have a full house tonight. Great. Okay. Sarah did a wonderful job with the minutes as usual. And does anyone have any comments about the minutes that need to be made at this time?
Motion to accept the minutes as presented.
Is there a second?
Second.
I have conversation though.
Okay.
I just noted that I got there late. I was in at 5:30. Last time, I don't know if that should be noted in the minutes. That's all.
Certainly doesn't hurt to add it.
Okay. Anything else around the minutes that folks need to make a comment about or make a change over?
Yeah, who's gonna do them in January?
One thing at a time. Okay. I'd like to call the roll and see if people are supportive of this. Okay, Becky.
Here.
Yes. Donna.
Yes.
Wisty.
Yes.
Garth.
Yes.
Sarah.
Yes.
Victor.
Yes.
Travis. Yeah, okay. Okay. Travis said a yes. Jack.
Yes.
Okay, then the minutes are approved as written. Public comment. As this is going to be a fairly structured meeting around us moving forward over this next couple of months, we're not going to do any comments around projects specifically in terms of their content, and we'll move ahead. But if there is something around the work that we're doing that, since Nancy is the only non-member of the committee here, if there's something in regard to that is important, please let us know, raise your hand. Okay, new business. Update on Wisdom Way Solar Village pre-application and next steps. Do you want to kind of put that forward?
Sure. Yeah, you guys might recall that there was a pre-application from Wisdom Way Solar Village, which is an affordable housing condo development down by the fairgrounds. And you guys had voted favorably on it on the condition that we run it by the Community Preservation Coalition. And they actually had some concerns about it. So we ended up speaking with someone from the board of the housing development, and they withdrew their pre-application. And I didn't put it on the agenda last month, so I didn't tell you. But basically what they were looking for was funding to conduct a study of the reserves for the housing development, ideally so that they would have they'd be able to charge sufficient condo fees so that they would have a big enough reserve to respond to potential future maintenance issues. And the coalition noted that ultimately is a housing rehabilitation use. They had framed it as a housing support which it certainly is in like the long trail of things, but the immediate use of those funds would have been, well, for the study, and then the study is for the purpose of raising funds for a project that would not have been eligible. But in having that conversation, the coalition suggested connecting that housing development to MHP, the Mass Housing Partnership for technical assistance. So my department has got that ball rolling just to see if there's anything that can be done. It's kind of a tricky situation. It's affordable home ownership. They've been there for a while, and now prices are going up, and they're afraid that their income qualified residents will get priced out. So more to come, and potentially a future application with us, but that's why that's not in the pile of applications you got.
You know, one of the things that I've had long conversations about with Lynn Waldron about this going back over a year. One of the things is that when they started Solar Village, they did not really understand what they needed to do in terms of housing association reserves. And since everybody's low income, they didn't want to push it because, you know, it's an economic issue for anybody who's there. And the result is that now they're in the situation where they've got to replace solar panels, they've got to replace roofs, they've got to do a whole bunch of things, and they do not have the money to do it. And so the question is, how do they move forward and keep all of those apartments affordable for the people who live there and not have them, you know, end up going to, you know, the highest bidder essentially, which is allowed in their bylaws if they cannot find a bidder, someone to do it within the structure that they have. So it's complicated because they've been there 20, 25 years, something like that. And so this is, you know, a major change for some people. Garth, did you want to say something?
I mean, Solar Village has been there like maybe 15.
Maybe 15. Okay.
Right.
I think it might be exactly 15 because that's why their affordable deed rider is just now running out.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah,
Okay.
no, it's like, I mean, upkeep is a thing, and right, there's a lot of discussion around like, oh, everybody should be a homeowner. Renters always get the shaft. It's like, turns out being a homeowner can kind of suck too.
Right. And you know, and this is the issue. This was the kind of thing that people didn't think about when they were first pulling this together. And now, you know, it's kind of backing into it, but it's also looking at it from the point of view of if there are other similar developments around the state, how should they, you know, handle this so that because there is an interest in some kinds of affordable condo developments as well, but the same issue will come up for them. So that's. So, okay, any questions on this or comments in regard to knowing where things stand right now?
But thank you for that detail, yeah.
Yeah, we just couldn't, it didn't get onto the agenda last time, so we couldn't talk about it. Okay, every year we try to do outreach, and every year it's a rush to get all of this, the work that we're going to be talking about today, finished, and then try to do the outreach. And we never do it as well as we'd like. So what I asked Becky if she would be willing to head up an outreach working group that would report back to us no later than April to be able to, you know, put together a plan that would make some sense and that we could then discuss and put into operation. And so, first of all, I'm wondering if that's something that people would think makes sense. And then the second question would be having two people who would be willing to be on it with Becky to work on it over the next period of time. So the first thing is, does this make sense?
Yes, I think so.
Any other comments? We've got two I think so's over here.
I think it makes sense, and I'm happy to join Becky if the board feels fit, the committee feels fit.
Any other questions, comments?
I think it's a fine idea. You know, we've batted it around a bunch. Like, oh, how do we get more people to put in more stuff? but the fact of the matter is you have to have control of the facility you want to put the stuff on,
Right.
right? And so that limits it, by our rules. Like it's great to be like, hey, all you random people in Greenfield, you should come up with, you know, things to tell what other people should do on their property. And then we have to be like, no, you can't actually do that.
So are you signing up, Garth, or what?
Was that?
Are you signing up?
No.
I
I mean, I'm fine with you doing it, and I think it's great to talk more about it. I think it's there's a structural issue about how the CPA is organized, such that
Okay.
like doing more outreach doesn't get more better projects.
Misty.
So Becky, is there already, do you already kind of know a format, like, for instance, if it has to do with education, not just about dates, but really helping people understand where they could get information, blah, blah, blah. I might be interested in it. Depends though on how many meetings there are and how much time, because,
Yeah, well, we don't know any of that because we haven't met.
okay,
So, but I think that if you and Jack and I got together for an hour sometime in the next month, we can probably sort of suss out what would be the things that we want to pay attention to over the period of time pre-application that would be helpful to the community. Because it's not just about what you do on other people's property. It really is about what does the CPC do anyway? So I think it's more about a general sense of, I mean, I get asked that all the time. Oh, you're sitting on the what? The community what?
If it helps, because I don't value free time, apparently, I'm also on the board of directors of GCTV.
Oh, we could come and have a little.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I
that
just
could
figured
be
put that
thrown
in.
into
They
our
do,
mix.
they do local radio and TV.
Yeah.
So that would be a methodology that you could pursue.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna back us up a little bit. We need to, oh, I'm sorry, Travis?
Can you hear me now?
Yep, we can.
Okay, I had to call in on my phone. I guess I just wanted to point out that if we're forming a subcommittee, then
No, we are not. We
that
are forming a
body would
working
be-
group.
Okay, whether it's called a working group or a subcommittee, I'm looking at a document right now that says it doesn't matter whether it's called a subcommittee or working group, blah, 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 task force. It would be subject to the open meeting law. If what we're doing is having more than one person work on something that is to advise the main body, to make recommendations to the main body. So just pointing it out for open meeting law, I think they would need to have publicly posted meetings, and I don't know how that jives with the meetings having to be hybrid. I don't know if subcommittee meetings would have to be hybrid or not. That would
Travis,
that's up to the mayor.
Anna and I were concerned about this, and Anna has talked to Kathy, and take it away, Anna.
Oh, yeah, I spoke to the city clerk with exactly this concern, Travis. And if we are to form a formal subcommittee, then yes, we would have to be careful that it's not approaching the volume of a quorum, which if it's 3 of you guys is not a big deal. It would have to be posted. It would not have to be hybrid per the new hybrid ordinance, but that was my number one fear, because that would mean that I would have to come and open the meetings. According to Kathy, a working group of less than a potential quorum of the committee is allowed to basically meet and do some planning, as long as they're not making any decisions for the commission. I'm not looking at the document that you're looking at, but that was what I was told, because I had this exact fear that we would basically be creating a whole new committee.
And if out of an abundance of caution, we wanted the 3 of us to meet at the housing authority, I'm happy for us to post the agenda. And so if someone from the public wanted to sit in, they could if we wanted to be cautious. I've heard, Travis, that it's more than 2 people, regardless of quorum. And so I think whoever is the final say, which I think in this point would be the city clerk, but also the city attorney has to weigh in. If we want to just abundance of caution, I'm happy to host.
Or,
Jack and Becky would be great.
or if it's 2 people who gather and that does not have those requirements, would that be enough that Jack and I could put together something to bring to the meeting and ask you to consider? And then we avoid, I mean, I'm not opposed to having it be hybrid and open, but
It's just, it's a lot more organization to do that for something that's basically, what do you want to do? You know, so, yeah, so why don't we do it as 2?
Mhm.
And Jack and Becky, and then we'll we'll ask you to come back by April. If you want to come back earlier to tell us what you're thinking about, that's fine. But we'll move ahead with that understanding, if that's okay for everybody.
Well, can I ask something else
Sure.
then? I think that's a great solution, and those 2 would be great.
Okay.
Meanwhile, I want to know, like, if any of us not on that committee even have a thought or an idea, can we send it to either of you guys or both, or?
Just one. I would send it
Send
directly
it
to Becky.
Yeah, send it directly.
Send it to Becky.
Yeah. Okay. So do we need to have any, we don't need a vote on this, right? Do we need a vote?
I think that you do. That
Yes,
was what I
okay.
was told when I set
Okay.
up the,
Okay.
even though
All
it's
right.
not a subcommittee
All right.
and nobody say the
All
word
right.
subcommittee.
All right, so could I have a motion then on a working group of Jack and Becky to look at outreach activities for us and come back to us with some ideas?
Yes, so moved.
Okay.
Second.
And a second from Victor. Okay, is there any further discussion? Seeing none, I will call the roll. Okay, Becky,
yes.
Donna,
Yes.
Wisty.
Yes.
Garth,
Yes.
Sarah,
Yes.
Victor,
Yes.
Travis,
Yes.
Jack,
Yes.
and I'm a yes. Okay, moving forward. Review of the fiscal year 2026 budget.
Yeah, I'm trying to decide how into the weeds we want to get right now. I just thought, because as you guys saw, the requests from the grants was large. It's worth kind of calibrating to what we actually have. So I think I'm gonna try to share my screen. Zoom people, can you see my screen?
We can.
Okay, so what I'm showing you is basically what is in the CPA fund as of right now. One thing you might notice is that the fiscal year 25 revenue is not the exact number that is reported to the state and is in the spreadsheet that I sent around. What's reported to the state is the amount we're supposed to have. And so the slightly lower amount reflects that there's a mixture of some unpaid tax bills and abatements that might end up reducing it, but it's close. The total that we have in the fund right now is just shy of 350,000, which is half-ish of the dollar amount that was asked for. You also proposed a budget for fiscal year 26 spending back in the spring. I think I can show you what that looks like if I do that. No, maybe not.
Do you have to stop the other one to put in this one?
Sharing and just try again.
There we go.
There we go. So this was based on the assumptions you had about what was going to come in from the surcharge and the state match. You underestimated, which was good. So we have slightly more of that, but the plan at that time was to spend or reserve 10% for open space, 10% for historic, and 30% for housing. So that's a commitment that you made at that time. That will be easy to do again based on what was asked for. I don't know if there's other details people want to look at now, but I'm going to make sure all of both the spreadsheet that I've been working on, tabulating everything, and these more formal things are in the shared Google Drive, so you guys can peruse it yourselves.
And all of these numbers include the state money as well, yes?
That's correct,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay,
Mhm.
so that's our maximum amount of money that we have available to us. Any questions about what our budget looks like? Actually, 2-to-1 is better than we've had for several years. So, yeah, we've been more like 3-to-1 and sometimes a little bit more than that, so.
Did you ever make a decision about holding back any particular amount of money in that spring, just to set it aside to maybe add to a larger project somewhere down the line?
We did not at that time. We did not at that time, and we can always do that at any time.
So basically what happens when you set the budget is that you're setting a budget, a minimum for each of those substantive reserves, and then the rest is also kind of a big reserve essentially. So you're not necessarily committing to not spending any of that, but that's all of the extra. And so what you did last year, if I understand correctly, is just spent out of the flexible account, but you still made your minimum 10% for the project categories. You just spent out of the flexible account. And that was the lowest, as you saw, that was the lowest that you had spent in the 3 years. So there was a little left over.
That was to get us into sync. What it was happening is that because we have a July 1 to June 30th budget year, but the state funds come in like in October or November, we were never quite sure how to make it all work and know what we had to work with. And so the decision was to hold back 1 year, try to get ourselves into sync, and then we would be able to do this. So that's where we are right now. Now again, we don't have to spend every dime of that if we don't choose to. We are required to maintain the reserves of 10% in each category. And if we don't spend it, it just rolls over into that category for the next year. Donna?
Yeah, we may be getting into this later regarding past projects, but my question is there we obviously have money encumbered for past projects, and sometimes people don't spend all the money. Is there any indication that there will be some leftover from funds that we've already granted that don't get used?
Yeah, there are. It's not reflected in the city's accounts yet, so I was just drawing up my own spreadsheet and I used the committed amount out of an abundance of caution, but that's a very good point. A couple of the rec projects came in. It's change. It's like a couple $1,000s under budget for them. I'm not sure that it's all reflected in the city's accounting yet, but yes, that means that the total pot will be slightly higher. It's not huge, but it is a bit.
And when will we know? Do you have any idea?
I was told they would be closing out the fiscal year 25 books imminently. I thought that would mean before today, but I was wrong.
Okay.
But hopefully before our next meeting, I'll have the exact dollar amount.
Great.
Yeah.
So before we start allocating, that was my
Yes,
final concern.
100%, yeah.
No question, if I may.
Sure.
I'm new to this committee. How does it work when it comes to a process? So looking at these projects you're drawing here, going back as far as 23, do they have timelines when their monies are supposed to be spent?
It's been project dependent. So each project has its own contract, and I've noticed some of the contracts say for a period of a year, for a period of 3 years. And then, as I understand it, the committee will grant extensions
If necessary.
if necessary.
And as our payments as needed, in other words, we don't give them a block of money. They send us a bill and we send them a check.
Yeah, it's all reimbursement. And it just depends on the type of project, how the reimbursement works. Okay, that's actually not totally true because the projects that are where the dollars are being spent by a city department, which is like the recreation department, it does a bunch of spending, they spend directly out of the account for their contracts. But all of the private contracts is by reimbursement.
But we don't have any requirements on, in other words, if it's a 2022, 23 project, we say, okay, the end of 26 is done. We're taking the rest of the money's being pulled back and put it in our pot. We don't do that.
What do you think?
Generally speaking, we ask that the projects be as close to shovel ready as possible. And we try, but sometimes there have been problems that nobody anticipated. And usually we want them done within 3 years. But if it's something that, nobody foresaw and they will come back to us and say, we think we can get it done in another year, then we're probably going to say, yeah, go
I was
ahead.
just thinking of tying up money. If we just got money that's hanging there, that's doing nothing, that's on the onus of the people. So they said they needed it. Well, you said you needed it.
Right.
You haven't used it. So maybe you don't really need it. We got someone else who could use it, pull it back. So I didn't know if we did that. That's all.
Yeah, no, we absolutely would do that if it made sense, but it would be on a program by program basis.
Thanks.
And it partly depends, like when they would do trail building and stuff, they thought that they could get a contract with the trail builders at a certain point, but then that took much longer. That was out of the hands of the people who had applied, which was the rec department. There are those kinds of issues that come out.
I'm not used to that, but that's okay.
Yeah. Okay, anything more around the budget that we would like?
Can I just ask a
Sure, go for it.
clarification? So we looked at two numbers. We looked at the one that was 348 or whatever that first number was that we saw. And then the second number was 2 something, which is how much we had budgeted for this year. So unless we budget more money for this year, we only have the 2 something right now, right? Like for this fiscal year.
Yeah. That's correct. Yeah, that's the amount that you budgeted for this fiscal year. So there is 350 and change in the fund itself, but I guess that isn't a question I know the answer to of how much flexibility you have in spending beyond your budget.
Well,
The issue was,
since our budget was only, it's like, right, it was 10, 30, and then everything else.
well, we
It
didn't
would
have
seem we
the,
could, like, everything else could be, any of that overage.
Or we could add it into the 10-10-30.
yeah, it would still be, we would still have to do 10-10-10-10-30.
We'd have to.
We have to do 10,
Because, yeah.
yeah, minimum. That's the minimum that we have to do. We didn't have the amount of money from the state to include in that, which is when we set this budget up. So that's part of the difference for sure.
Yeah, at least partly.
Okay.
And
Sorry,
for
Travis,
clarification, that's how it's been every year. Like we typically have more money in the accounts than what we've budgeted for that year. And then that gets rolled over to the next year, and then we budget that as part of the budget for the next year. So I guess I guess I just want us all to be clear on what the actual number is of the amount that we can put towards projects this year. And it sounds like it's probably the 2 something, unless we go through some process we don't normally do to try to access the remaining funds.
Well, that was an estimated budget, right? Because we didn't know exactly what was going to come in. So I'm assuming that is the framework that you're supposed to follow for allocating projects, but I don't know that you certainly don't have to spend that much. And I guess what I'm not sure about is whether you're allowed to spend more, because there is more in the account.
Can we put this onto the agenda for next month?
Yeah.
And meanwhile, we will check on exactly what the number is that we are working from. Because I think this was an estimate based on not having the information from the state. And so based on what we had available to us at that time. And so this would be helpful to know, what we can access, and especially since the books are being closed out in the next week or two. Then we'll know exactly what is available to us also from things like the projects that we still don't know if they spent all their money. Jack?
I was just wondering if it makes sense for us to have this discussion after we've met with the applicants before we do our final deliberation, because maybe we do want to talk about doing a revision to, make the budget 300,000, if that's something that's allowed. I'm just thinking, since we will ask the applicants questions about, if we can't fully fund you, what is your alternate, or how much would you need? I think it'd be a better discussion to have after we've had those questions answered.
But if we can get a verification of exactly what the total is there, then we can make the allocation discussion afterward. Okay.
Hey, can I ask one thing?
Sure.
Since this now is our first year since we've cleaned everything up.
Yeah.
So what we did in the past won't necessarily apply to this year because this is a clean slate year.
Right. So what has happened in the past is that we've ended up not knowing what the state money was going to be. And it came in after we had done our deliberations.
Right.
So it didn't make sense. We couldn't go back and do something. Now we know what this year's money is. And, but we don't get that information until fairly late. So we don't get it until
I just mean that we don't have to worry about doing things differently because it is a different year.
Right. So, and we could spend all of it, we could spend some of it, but we need to know exactly what's available to us. Okay. Anything more on this that folks want to talk about? Okay, so we'll move that along and put it onto the part of the January agenda. All right, now, scheduling. What we learned last year was that we had always done 3 proposals per meeting up until, and last year we found that we had worked with the proposal process enough and with the proposal application enough so that some of the questions that we had previously asked of prospective applicants, we didn't need to ask anymore because we had the information already. So it meant that the meetings went more quickly. So what I'd like to suggest is that we do 4 applicants per meeting. And with 11 applicants, that means we need 3 meetings instead of 4 to be guaranteed over the months of January and February. Have a snow date meeting in case we need that. And then look at the possibilities of having further, being more deliberative in March, and whether we could make a decision in February whether we needed a second March meeting, but we may only need our 1 meeting in March. Does that seem logical to people? Okay, I've got thumbs up and heads shaking and all that kind of thing. Okay, so now comes the fun part. January. Let me start. What I'm going to do is start by week and see what people are available for. Okay, the week of January 5th.
I just have to get this turned on.
Okay.
Are we looking at dates other than our normal meeting dates?
Yes. We can look at, we need a date. We can probably do our normal meeting date as 1 day, but we also need a date before that in January. So I'm just going to start.
Are we also making meetings at 5 now and not 5:30? Or is that
We haven't determined that yet. And we'll get to that as soon as we get some general meeting dates, because that may make a difference for folks. So the week of January 5th, is there a date that folks would like to meet. Is Thursday, the 8th, a possibility? Let me start that way.
I'm not good on Thursday.
You're not good on Thursdays. Okay. How about Tuesday, the 6th? If
Yeah,
people
that
could
works.
give me a thumbs up or something just to let me know. Tuesday, the 6th? It's okay?
Yeah.
Okay. And are you going to be here or not here?
Probably not here, but
Okay.
I am emailing Terry.
Okay, good enough. Okay, so then Tuesday, the 6th seems like a possibility? Okay, then let's write it down and not then freeze it in stone.
What time?
Now, this is going to be a question of when facilities are available.
Does look like City Hall and Johnson are both booked starting at 6 p.m. on the 6th. So,
Check here and check the fire station?
yeah,
Okay.
I'll have to email the fire
Okay,
station to check.
so-
but
I can check the library.
Okay. And then if we go by our normal meeting date would be
22nd.
the 22nd.
22nd.
Yep.
And wait, the 22nd, not a Thursday though.
And yes, the
Because-
Thursday,
Well,
no,
that one works.
No.
First one's in the month,
yeah.
first three.
So that's our regular CPC meeting.
Terry says he's not available on Fridays.
Okay, we're not looking at Fridays right now. Okay, cool. All right, then let's look at February. So we've got two already. This is good. This is very good. Okay, week of February 2nd.
Okay, so
Do we need 4?
We need, yes, we need 4. We need 3 that were, we can definite, and the 4th would be a snow date. So for instance,
Gotcha.
I don't know whether we'd want to just say we're going to do our February regular February meeting and wait until March, if we have to do an extra, or if you want to start with an early February meeting and then we've got everything done and then we can start deliberations at our meeting at the end of February. It's your call.
So these meetings are to meet with applicants.
That's correct.
So we only needed 3.
We only need 3 for meeting with applicants, but then so we can,
Should have 4 on the book.
and we want to have a snow date just in case we have to not have to close the meeting down.
so February 2nd, a
I
Monday.
pencil in the 10th. I'll be away on the 26th regardless.
Okay,
Wait, is the 20, when is President's?
It's the 16th.
President's Day,
20th?
23rd?
It's the 16th is the President's Day week. 16th through 20th.
You're right. 16th is President's Day. Our meeting is scheduled for,
20,
our meeting is scheduled for the 26th.
Yeah.
So we could just do our meeting on the 26th and have that be a meeting with applicants. And then if we needed another meeting, we could do an early meeting in March and we could decide on that.
The conference room is not available on January 6th.
Okay, so library is not available January 6th.
On the 6th, it is available on the 8th, it is available on the 7th.
And we'll need more than an hour. You think?
Yeah, we're good. Yeah, we'll need our full hour and a half.
I think if we're meeting with 4 people, 4 groups, we should plan on at least giving them a half hour each.
Yeah.
You say?
What we found is that what I'm trying to do is say that last year we found that
didn't
we ended
need that,
early.
But we could still plan 2 hours and leave early.
Yeah, right. But what we generally do is have them come in, do a short presentation, and then we ask questions. And what we found is we don't have to ask as many questions as we used to. That's what we learned.
So
You said the 7th was available here?
No, I did say that, but it's not. conference room is.
So Susan, I just want to say one thing about what you just said, is I think one of the things that we found was because we had so much information on the applications, we didn't need such a presentation from them.
Yeah,
And that was one of the major places where
Right.
we saved time, is they didn't need to introduce.
no, they just
everything.
needed to, quickly
Answer
say
questions
something.
and
Yep.
stuff.
So it worked pretty well last time. So we should be able to do 4. And in general, we were able to do them in an hour and a half, maybe, there was an extra 5 minutes or so, but we were able to do it. Okay, so I'd like to get back to February. So do we want to have our regular meeting in February be another one of our meetings and then decide on the 26th if we need anything further in March? Another meeting in March. I mean, let's say we're snowed out. If we're snowed out in February, then we're going to have to figure out a March meeting. So do our regular CPC meeting on the 26th.
But let's hold that. Yes, good.
And then let's give ourselves a March date.
Wait, so we didn't say anything February?
We didn't decide to just do the regular.
But just,
meeting.
If Garth's gonna be away, should we move it so that Garth can be here and that you have maximum visibility?
but we have to, that's our regular meeting. So I suppose we can change it if you want. Garth, can you be here earlier in the month? In February?
February
Yeah.
3rd is
Yeah.
open here.
Yeah, just wouldn't, I'm probably not gonna be able to make that end.
Okay. How's February 3rd?
Hmm?
That,
I
okay?
can't do the first week of February,
You can't
unfortunately.
do, okay. Second week of February, the week of the 9th. How's the
Yeah.
10th? Does the 10th
Yeah,
work
the
for
10th
people?
10th was doable. It sounded like there wasn't a
The
room.
10th, I have a conservation commission meeting on the 10th.
Okay. How about the 11th?
Mhm.
This room is
11th?
Sure.
Going once, going twice? Okay. Our CPC meeting for the month of February will be on the 11th.
What if we don't have a space to have it?
Then we'll get back to everybody and we'll make a change in the meeting.
Can we have a full Zoom?
Dropping it on the, no.
No,
Unfortunately.
Now, this is why we wanted our working group
so
to be
it's
small.
February 11th. is what
So
you're
February
suggesting.
11th is what we're looking at right now.
The library is not available.
Okay,
It will probably be City Hall.
okay.
You could keep the 26th on as your backup date.
That's actually a good idea.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll keep the CPC, this is the CPC backup is the 26th.
Okay, so we have 4 dates.
Yep, we have 4 dates.
Let's go over them again, please.
Okay, the 4 dates are
January 6th,
January
January 22nd, February 11th, February 26th.
Generally speaking, somewhere 5:30-ish. Is that where we're?
That's what we're looking at, yeah. We just don't know if it will be 5 or 5:30. That'll depend on availability of space. But the idea would be that if we can do it and we don't have snow days, then we'll do the 2 January meetings, the first February meeting, and the backup meeting is our regular date on the 26th of February, and then we'll have and then we'll move to our regular meeting in March. Does that sound right to folks? Okay.
Yeah.
I think this is the hardest part of this effort, is to try to get everybody scheduled. Okay,
That was good.
okay,
That was pretty simple.
okay.
Hey, so can I say something else?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay, so just remembering that we were able to streamline.
Yes,
One of the things that now I might be wrong, so I think that I distinctly remember this, that we said we don't need people to reintroduce their projects.
Right.
And that was a huge time savings then when we stopped that. So when they're invited to come to the meeting, I think we should be real clear on what they need to expect, which is mostly questions from us.
okay, that's a good question.
So the onus is on the committee members to do your homework.
That's right, that's
Absolutely.
correct, that's correct,
Absolutely.
Prepare your questions.
And fully know what's in that application.
right. And we'll be, so, yeah, and what you need to know is 4 of them for that particular night. And Anna will tell us who is coming before that date. So everyone will know which groups are coming in, to do their presentations and all of that. Part of the scheduling is also to be able to contact people and say, which of these dates can you make? So that we can make sure that we have everybody has an opportunity to answer questions.
To that end, can we add Terry to this shared drive?
Yeah. Who's Terry?
Terry's the do me.
Oh,
new
no.
historic.
That's right. You're leaving us.
Oh, no.
I think Terry should take notes.
Okay.
Well, I was gonna leave my template
Yeah.
because it's helpful. It's so helpful.
Sarah, can you email him and me?
Oh,
So
yeah.
I have his email and then.
Yeah, because I'm gonna show all this to him tomorrow, but I don't want to print out a ton of pages on my work computer in black and white.
Okay, so the other thing will be that we will need to, I don't know if we need to go back to our rotation process for taking minutes. It has been so nice that Sarah did this, but we may need to go back to rotation. If so, what we did before was we started with people's first names alphabetically and went around to do them. That's the way we did it before. What do folks think?
I think Victor got lucky.
I just left the clerk's office and planning, so I'm not looking forward to it.
Start at the back end.
Thank you.
Actually, I'm the last one. VW.
Oh, true.
Yeah.
We're going
Okay,
by.
does that make sense? So in that case, Becky, I think you're up.
Wait, is it last name or first name?
Oh, I'll do one for this one because
Oh, you'll do this
I'm
one.
in it. Yeah.
Right, but for,
I'm still a member, so.
right, but for January, I'm talking about for January.
Yeah, no, SOL, you guys.
Yeah, okay. Do we want to do first names or last names?
Whatever you say.
Do first names. You did first names before, do first names again.
Okay. You're gonna send us all your template? Will you send me your template?
I was gonna include it in a copy of the minutes from this one.
Okay.
I mean, I would back here to do them. I don't think I'm allowed to do them.
It's over.
I understand
There's
the
also
pain.
a transcript of the Zoom recording.
Oh, yeah, I wanna sit and look
So that
through all that.
I can personally attest it is incredibly helpful.
Definitely helps.
Get it off of YouTube.
I'm sure that's at the time frame issue is for me. I want to get it done while I'm in the meeting rather than do it later.
So what I do is I take a live set of notes and then I go back towards the minutes and so I can get like the exact verbiage of like motions and stuff like that. It helps a lot.
Okay.
Never did as well.
Okay. Let's be, I asked to
Wait, so
have
that means I'm taking notes when?
Most of
January. January.
Oh my God, Becky.
For that first meeting.
For that
we're
first
meeting with
meeting in
4
January.
different Groups.
Yes.
Great.
Yes.
I can.
No, if this is a hardship, then we can work on that.
I don't mind helping. I don't know if it's allowed, but I don't mind helping. I can show you how I've been doing it because it's not.
I would like, can you skip me and come back to me? Because January
Okay.
is
Okay.
packed.
All right, that's
So
fine.
much
That's
other
fine.
stuff.
In that case,
I'm sorry.
that's all right. Donna, could you do it?
Yep, and I'm just gonna say it again, I've said it before. There is also an option to pay somebody to do it out of the administrative funds. But I will do
like that.
January 6th.
You can pay me.
Ooh. Let's pay Sarah.
Sarah, are you serious?
A little. I like money. And I've been doing this for forever. Plus, I want to keep up with what you guys are doing.
Oh, I love
Okay,
that
that would be
idea,
fantastic.
Donna.
Because
Bless you.
under no circumstances did I take minutes like she does.
Okay.
It's
If
true.
Sarah is willing to do this, we will figure,
If
we'll
it's
negotiate.
legal, if it's legal.
Well.
Yeah, we'll check.
Yeah, because I really don't mind. Honestly, I
You're an
don't keep up with you guys. It gives
Yeah,
me
you're
a
an
reason to
outside.
hang around.
Yeah. Okay, we will check on that. If that's legal, we will do it. If
Great.
not, it's up to Donna.
Administrative.
We'll let you know, Donna.
Donna, that was
I'll
brilliant.
chip in.
Yeah, really.
Okay, but I charge
Okay.
by the letter.
Okay. All right.
Well, put $10 on the table.
Right.
I'll take care
So
of it.
we have a 5% admin fund. We can actually pay her.
But then it's not even part of the city, so there's no one to complain.
Okay, I put on the agenda the
Do you need to
initial,
motion that or no?
I don't think we need to do we need to do a motion?
No, let me investigate
Yeah.
first.
Okay,
And, oh, that's huge relief.
okay.
Okay.
But you'll warn us in plenty of time, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I can keep doing it for forever. Now, plus if I'm I need like the cortisol crisis to do the minutes, so having a reason, like, I don't get paid if I don't minutes.
There you go.
Okay, they're gonna be so mad at me if I don't get the minutes. I need that.
Okay, we'll work on this. All right, going on. I asked to have an initial discussion of fiscal 2026 applications. This is really about, I looked through it and I didn't find for this project that's a historical project that they had gone to the Historical Commission. What we're talking about is, are there things missing that you noticed when you did a quick look through the applications that you really think are important to remind applicants? We're not talking about content. We're not talking about usefulness, not usefulness. It's really like, is there something that you thought was not being done that needed to be done, and that it would be important to get the group, aware of that? That's really what we're looking at right now. So in looking at these applications, did anybody have anything like that go ahead?
I have an issue. It's with the Miller's Meadow one.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's been common or generally accepted that there are no herbicides used. We don't use chemicals in Greenfield. And it seems like that one's heavily on chemicals. And I know that I personally had a meeting with DPW about something different, and was told that they were having trouble finding a document, but they were sure that it was there someplace. So I think that's important to know.
Okay. Okay, so was this a resolution of the council? Do you know if it was
I don't know, because when I read that, I was so surprised to see that it was in there, in the application. And just the assumption that we were not supposed to use chemicals.
Okay, so.
If I could add to that,
Yeah.
From a conservation commission perspective, I haven't heard that before, and there are people that have used herbicides in Greenfield. They just have to get the proper authorization if it's near a stream or wetland or whatever through the conservation commission. So, to the best of my knowledge, that's not true.
Okay, that's good to know.
On city property, is that?
Well, I'm sure that what Travis is saying is accurate. It's just that other thing was my assumption, and what I had heard from other places, but he works on the Conservation Commission.
So do you have any document, Travis, on the Conservation Commission that would shed light on this?
No, I mean, that's the first I've ever heard that there even could be like a blanket ban on that in the city. So I don't even know. I can't prove the negative that
Okay.
there is no document. But Donna has her hand up too.
Donna, yeah.
My comment was not about this one, so I'm happy to let you guys keep
Okay.
talking about
Okay.
this one before we move on.
Okay, so how do people want to proceed on this? Should we ask the group to check on this? Do we want to ask Anna to check in with the DPW on this? How do we want to do this?
So I just want to ask this of Travis. Is that okay?
Sure.
So Travis, when NHESP is involved, which it isn't in this, right?
I don't believe it is. Or, well, actually, I don't know. I don't know that off the top of my head. Sorry. But I think they also have their own, recommendations. I don't think it's like a blanket you can or can't. I think it's like project specific.
Okay. Okay, and this project doesn't need NHESP.
I don't know that off the top of my head. I would have to look into it.
Can we let the applicant know that the committee has had some concerns and they will have an opportunity to answer and respond during their section? I'm just wondering if maybe that's the best approach, since they're presenting this as a solution for some reason. Maybe they have looked at alternatives and this is the only thing that's going to work.
And for instance, it would be good if they were told that they were, like, that they had a month to look into it and stuff.
Right,
Like not just hear it that night.
right. No, that's why I'm asking these questions. So, okay, so if we could, go ahead,
Yeah,
Anna.
I think the applicant is actually aware of this question. I don't know that they know the answer. So if the question is really just, is there a city policy against herbicides or specifically on city property?
Mhm.
As much as we can, prove a negative, I can dig around and see if anyone has heard of it, just as a task.
Okay,
I think that
And I will
would be
make sure the
good.
applicant knows that
Yeah,
that's.
and,
Yeah.
because I have heard it from quite a number of places. And if it's not so, that would be really good. And if Travis's thing, what he's saying is so, that's a really good explanation. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
okay, great. Any other things? Donna, you wanted to bring up something?
Yeah, I noticed that the city clerk's, application didn't really have like the budget filled out. I know that they're asking for $75,000, but I'm not sure if that's just for the scanner or if that's, I was having a hard time gathering what their, process was going to be and what things cost.
Thanks, Donna. I think that's important. Yeah, I remember going through that myself and wondering about that. It appears that it's just for the scanner, but we should have that clarified from them.
That's an expensive scanner.
Yeah.
Additionally, there are a few of the applicants that have not come to the historical commission, and the vice chair has been very adamant that if they don't come to us, we're not going to them. And so if they want our letter of support, they're gonna have to reach out to Margot.
Okay, so we should check each of the,
I believe
know which ones, because I'm trying to remember and I can't right now.
the city clerks have not, but I think they're going back and forth with Margot, and I will double check. Museum of Art and Industrial Heritage, they have one. Spike Segundo has one. I don't believe the Church of St. Andrew has one, but at the time of the last meeting, we were in flux with them, whether or not they were gonna be allowed to proceed. And so they would probably be good to have them like come back for the CPC application specifically, and especially where a lot of the members are, didn't they come to us for the roof? But this is a different project. It needs a new letter of support. I think that's the last one, if I'm not mistaken. No, they had one already, and Margot, she rewrote it, and apparently what I'm told, it was like an enthusiastic, more than very happy report for them. So they're all set. I believe the Church of St. James and Andrew is the last one.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
Can I
Jim
just
came to
clarify?
us like immediately.
Can
Travis?
I ask a clarifying question about that? Are we talking
Yeah.
about letters of support or letters determining that the historical item is historical to Greenfield? Because those are kind of two different things, and they could get both or either of those.
So I know that the letter, for example, for the Museum of Art and Industrial Heritage includes verbiage that talks about both. So I think if we can request both from the applicants, but I believe generally speaking, the letters that Margot has written in the past include language that talks about both of those things in the same letter.
Yeah, my understanding is that if it is already on the historic register, then it doesn't require
Right,
the historic commission sign off.
Yeah.
But enthusiasm is appreciated.
Absolutely, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, so, and these paintings in particular would not be on that registry because they don't have like a documents registry of things like that, but like a building automatically would not necessarily need both. But I remember in this one, the verbiage was, I think it was pretty clear. I don't know. I
Yeah,
think we're gonna vote tomorrow on whether or not we sent out the draft, so tomorrow we're gonna vote on that, and then I'll email it to you if it's approved.
Yeah, I'm looking at the St. James one now and I don't see anything yet.
Yeah, they have, I don't think they've come to
They don't
us.
have it yet. So, and they will need it because we need to, no, saying it's old is not sufficient, unfortunately. So.
Yeah, it is, I believe their buildings are on the registry, so they don't need a letter of approval, but support would certainly would be helpful, I think.
Is that completed?
Yeah, I think so.
Can we go back to the city clerk thing? It seems to me that turning in this application without a budget is an incomplete application. Why would we accept that at this point? I mean, they had a deadline like everyone else. Other people filled out a budget. They didn't fill out their budget page at all. They left it completely blank. At least from what I'm looking at on our shared drive. And I don't need to, I just feel like that's a little unfair just because they're city clerk, we're gonna let them not do the work we're asking everyone else to do in a timely fashion. And believe me, I work for Kathy on election day and she's not gonna wanna know that I asked this question, but I am asking this question because
That's fair, though. That's fair.
Question.
Yeah, I mean, we have on the first page, they say that they're asking for $75,000. Okay, and then you
They're asking for
expect.
They're asking for 30 of the
Oh,
75.
Okay, sorry.
I
But
wonder if
yeah,
they're going
and
to-
therefore, like, because that's the other thing that we ask, where does the rest of the money come from? What's your in kind? I mean, we have like, what's it gonna cost? What's the breakdown? Is it gonna be staff? Is it gonna be equipment? Is it gonna be a contract? Those
Right.
are all the kinds of things that we pull together. And then it's also like, what's the match? Is it people that are gonna work for free? And what's the value of that? Is another grant that you got gonna cover the rest of it? So yeah, it feels like it's not complete.
So in my reading of that thing, I thought that amount of money was just for the scanner,
That's,
because there was that picture of the scanner.
yeah, but that doesn't say anything about how it's.
Okay.
They didn't fill out the budget.
Anyway, that's the point.
Okay,
yeah.
so is this a question then of an incomplete, and I need your thoughts on this. Is this an incomplete application or is this a clarification on what they're asking for the $30,000? Because we can look at it those two ways.
Incomplete. I mean, if there's a deadline and that's what it says, it's incomplete. It's not a clarification. Because it's not, we're not trying to clarify information that's on the
Yeah.
application. There's no information on the application.
Yeah.
And it does set a precedent. I
Yeah.
mean, if we wanted that detail, we should have asked them before the deadline. Or they should have been aware that it's pretty clear that they should have filled that out.
So
And-
wasn't there something about them, like, we didn't see their pre-application, or there was some sort of kerfuffle about a pre-application with them, which I'm wondering is a mitigating circumstance.
Yeah, that was a separate issue that they were actually the first one to send in their pre-application before the email address got moved over to me, so I didn't catch it until afterwards, which is why you guys didn't review it. I'm not sure how that would connect to the budget, though. Yeah.
So what do folks want to do? Travis?
Yeah, I guess I was gonna say that I don't remember anywhere in our like rules or anything about the applications that we won't accept an incomplete application. So I feel like whether someone completes the whole application or not, we have it, and then that can be part of the scoring rubric at the end. Is I think one of the questions is like, did they provide all the information, or like, did they things on time? I think we can rate them lower for that at that time.
That is
That's
kind of
my,
That's a little bit of a setup for them to
Yeah.
find out all the way at the end,
Yeah,
that they didn't get the
exactly.
money. Whereas if we were
Up front.
clear about that, if we haven't been clear to date, we should start being clear about what the complete application means going forward.
Right.
Could we not ask them right now?
I'd agree with Becky, although I'd also say like we don't really have a particular process for rejecting people at this point, right? We've let people in past the pre-app. They've sent in their application. It may be a completely crap application, but I think it does feel like we're committed to reviewing them. And, right, we can be like, well, this one doesn't have the information. All in favor of rejecting this one? Boop.
Okay, so do we want to say that the application, again, is incomplete? Do we want to notify them that there are things that are missing? And then in order for them to come to us and talk to us about it, we're going to need that information.
Well, I thought we just said about Miller's Meadows, would it help if the person knew it ahead?
Right, and what I'm
Same
asking
thing here.
What I'm asking is, do we want to contact the clerk's office
Okay.
now and say, we're missing some information here. And we need that information before you come to meet with us. And give them a date, by which we need that information.
Well, they did submit an application on time and met the deadline.
Mhm.
It doesn't seem strictly favoritism to say, hey, we're gonna push back a little bit on something in the application. They could submit a revised application. Or they could come back and have that information at their presentation.
Okay,
They
what
may
about this?
have it. It may be there somewhere, they just forgot to include it, or who knows, but.
Yeah, I think that, the purpose of us having the people come in so they can answer questions is about this process, right? We don't say, give us your applications and go sit in the corner and we're not gonna talk to you until we decide. And the other thing that I think we need to think about here is, yeah, there's it's not complete, but we've never rejected applications before. We've scored them, and if they've scored low, they didn't get funded. And furthermore, this process and this money to me doesn't feel like it's about the meritocracy of filling out applications. It's about us gathering information about what's best for Greenfield. So we could have a stellar application that's, just smoke and mirrors, or we could have, a really application for something that's really good. Don't we want to give ourselves the space to be able to fund something that's really good and not, be worried so much about the check boxes? And it all comes out in the scoring. That's what I think.
Yeah, and we're being inconsistent because we just said about the historical commission that there were certain things that people needed to turn in late. Did I miss that? I think that we're talking about this in a different way that we just have talked about two other issues.
But that's not reviewing the application. The application was okay. There's documentation that's needed by them to support the application. We got no issue with the application. Point of Becky's point, for us as a committee, we should have all our information before we meet with the applicant. We shouldn't be at the meeting with the applicant saying, okay, what's your budget? Because then we're gonna have to deliberate at the meeting on something we've just been told. So if they can't complete the application ahead of time to complete, then at least they should be told, you have a good chance of being denied. You have to reapply next year. Because we didn't have the information we needed at the time we needed it to deliberate your application. That's just being held accountable for your actions. And I think that's perfectly reasonable, especially for the clerk's office. Goodness gracious, they should definitely be accountable. So why not do that? Why not look at it and say, it's incomplete, chances gonna score low, and chances are you're not gonna get it. If you wanna let them know up front, that's fine.
Part of the question that we're asking right now is, should we inform them that we need
It's an incomplete
a more complete budget than what was given to us? Because basically what they gave to us is, we need 75,000, we're asking you for 30 of it, and we have that information. What we don't have is a more complete budget of what it is for.
And probably.
And where the match comes from.
You've
So
seen this
I would just like
before.
to ask them for that.
You've seen this, I'm the second, you're the newest, I'm the next newest. So it's only been a few years. I don't think there's solid rules about any of this so far.
And I would like to say that if this is for the community to be able to respond, if we want to be able to invite a range of people with a range of backgrounds and a range of writing skills and a range of tuning into applications, then I think that we need to have an amount of flexibility. Otherwise, you can imagine who we're going to keep kicking out. And that's not fair.
Okay, so let me try to summarize where we are. I'm hearing from several people that we would like to get back to the clerk's office and say to them, we're missing a more detailed budget. We need that, and give them a date by which they have to get it to us so that we would have it before they come in to do their presentation. And the other thing I'm hearing is this is an incomplete proposal and therefore should be rejected based on the fact that it is not complete.
If that was going to happen, that should have happened at the last meeting, when we went through each of the applications and said, yes, that's eligible, that's not.
No, because that was a pre-application. This is the full application.
Oh, I see.
This is the full application. So I guess I'm going to ask for a straw vote. In how many folks are supporting the idea that we should go back to the clerk's office and ask them for further explanation of their budget and have that be something that happens before January, before our first meeting?
It's fine.
Yeah.
They have to complete their application.
Okay. How many people just really feel like we shouldn't be doing?
I'm all for that, but if they don't have it in January, then it's done.
Okay.
We don't
So
get it by
why
January,
don't we give them,
rejected.
our first meeting is January 6th. So why don't we say to them that we have to have it, by the end of this month. We have to have it by the end of December, so that in case they are there for the January 6th meeting, we have a chance to.
And that's a good thing for going forward with other applications too, that all missing parts need to be in place before the end of the year.
Or at least before the deliberation happens. So, because there may be, I would like it before the end of the year. We're asking them for the end of the year, but there could be other situations where that is a little bit more difficult and we have to be flexible about it.
And I would like to point out that new people really do have valuable stuff. And you have to, and I would appreciate you realizing that every year we've made more rules that have been helpful and we've had more procedure changes that have been helpful. So if you think that even this year we'll get it all in place and we won't need to make changes.
Forget it right now. Forget it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can I just make one comment?
Go ahead, Donna.
I think that, I agree with Wisty about our process, and I think that if we know that this meeting right now is flagging things so that we can get back to applicants and say, hey, you know what, you're missing this, or we don't, and it's in preparation for our meetings with them, at which point everything should be in. So like by the time, not before our deliberations, which are going to be in March, but by the time they are scheduled to come in before us, they should have everything at that point. But right now, it's the first pass. Let them know what they're missing.
And I'm just going to beat a dead horse here. When Jack and Becky meet about how can we help the community, tune into this conversation.
Yeah.
Okay, based on that,
They just don't know yet and how it's going to get broken down.
no, they need to know that.
Fair.
Okay, that's a requirement. They need to know. And if they don't know, then that's something that we need to talk with them about.
Does it make sense, Susan, for Anna to send a message to all of the applicants, letting them know that this year, if there's anything else that, if they've reviewed their applications and there was something that they wanted us to be aware of prior to our January and February meetings, because we're only going to be reaching out to 3 or 4 applicants, but there were 9 or 10. I don't have the list in front of me.
It's 11.
11.
Total.
So I'm just wondering if we should just send a blanket email to everybody, making sure they're aware that we don't want any submissions past the end of the month for missed items.
Except then you're not telling the city clerk exactly what they need to produce or anybody else.
Send them a separate one, and be like.
I guess you could send them, yeah, separately.
Well, do we have any other applications that are missing information? I didn't get that impression, so.
Okay, so that's my next question is there anything else that we're concerned about? We obviously have historical commission questions. We have this question about the city clerk's budget. Are there other things that have come up as you were doing a quick review of applications and the herbicide issue?
Well, and, yeah, oh.
Say that this is a
On
new
the Miller's,
process,
on the
because we
Miller's
didn't do
Meadow.
this last year. No, I'm just saying that we didn't do this part last year. Like, we
Right.
didn't do a pre-review, so I flipped through, but I didn't go through it looking to see if there were missing items. I just
Okay.
got the general overview of what everyone was looking for. And so I think this is a great addition. I wasn't sure, I wasn't aware we were going this deep, so I didn't have a chance to analyze it to that level.
I think this meeting has evolved really cool.
Well, would folks be comfortable? I'm gonna have to reach out to all the applicants anyways to schedule when they come in. And so I can say, you know, I'll send that email, obviously, either this week or next week. And so say, you know, if there is something missing from your application, or if there are any pieces that I didn't receive, the drop dead date for that is December 31st. But like, please don't just take that time to get 5 extra letters of support that we don't care about. But like, you know, if something is jumping out to you, just let me know. And again, that's the flexible way of doing it this year, and then be a little more next year.
Notably, a good example of that would be that by the time the meeting where we would vote to approve to send a letter of support for the church is tomorrow. Right, so then they're gonna have to come meet with us in January, and presumably we will give them a letter of support, but at the same time, it's like if they're considering.
That, yeah. If we notify them that they need that, and we make sure therefore that they have it with them when they come, I mean, the letter of support is not as big a deal as making sure that we know what the budget looks like. It's kind of a different thing, but I think if they know that they've got to have something to us as early as possible,
Yeah.
preferably by December 31st, but if they can't because the group isn't meeting.
As long as they know that they were approved from that committee.
Yeah, I would email.
Yeah.
Because like the church
And-
in particular,
and
they're.
in the case of the church, if they are on the registry of historic places, we need something that says that. Or,
Oh, yeah, I can,
Yeah.
that do that too.
yeah, but we need something, if that's what it is.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's easy to do. I
Yeah.
can be like, okay, tomorrow.
okay, go ahead.
So that one that has Eric Turok, and who's not gonna be with us any longer, and he's the contact person. And I think there was reference to that somebody else needed to be on there.
The Miller's Meadow. Yeah, Athena, the grant writer, and I believe the conservation agent are both listed as well as contacts, so
Okay,
I was gonna rope her in.
okay, as contact, so where his name is sort of substitute in my head. Their names.
What's her name? Ella?
Sorry? Oh, Jessica Siegel and
Athena.
and Athena Bradley, and we have a new planning director who is starting.
Okay, that's no problem.
Yeah, so there's no shortage of bodies.
Okay, anything else that anybody ran into that is more specific than generally get your stuff in on time? Okay, all right, then I'm gonna move on. The review of the community project updates.
Do we want to do this, or do you want to table it? It's totally up to you guys.
Are there updates? Like, are there?
They're, you know,
I mean,
I can buzz right through these if you'd like. I just realized that we
To hear.
hadn't done this in a little while, and you know, everyone submitted their quarterly reports at the end of September. So I'm gonna buzz through the updates I have for these ones on the list, but obviously for like the Housing Authority, Concom, and Rec, if you know more and want to share it, or if people have questions, just chime in. But the Highland Park Trail restoration is complete as of this summer. The water bars and bog bridges were installed to prevent erosion. That was the cool pictures of the Adirondack Club that we got from Christie. There were about 3,300 in unexpected funds, which will be returned to the CPA fund. So that one's done.
Right.
Hillside
They
Park.
were only able to do half the initial project, right?
That was not mentioned in their final report. Do you mean by geographically or like half of the scope of what they said?
I mean, initially the BOA's project in year one, there was, much discussion about the, degraded path over like basically around the corner on Bears Den, going up a steeper portion there. I honestly had no idea of that they were doing something up by the parking lot. I mean, it looks great. I'm psyched we had a crew in there doing it. It didn't at all feel like what I thought I was voting on. That might be on me. I'm fine with. We
Well-
did some good stuff for the trails.
I mean, I
Um,
think that it was still good value. That was a good example of what, what Victor was asking about earlier, because that took forever to get all of the permitting. And then when we thought we had everything that we needed in place, we were getting AmeriCorps people to do the work. And then by the time we got permission for that, they were done with theirs. And it was just like a bureaucratic kind of a nightmare, that
mhm.
project. And so it took a lot to get it done. And I think that some of the things may not have been done because we weren't allowed to do them. I don't have all of the details, but I know that it was a slog. So it's
Yeah.
as done as it's gonna get
Yeah,
for
no,
now.
I mean,
And also the land changes within like 3 years, you know. You try to
Right.
stop erosion, but you gotta wait 2 years to stop it. What?
Okay, it'd be good to get clarification from Christie
Yeah,
on that.
that was news to me.
My memory is what Garth was saying.
Yeah, that,
Hillside Park, which was a 2024 project, is ongoing. So it included two pieces. There was the shade structures by the splash pad and then extending the walking path at the park to cover the full perimeter. And my understanding is that the shade structures have been installed and the paving will be done in the spring.
Budget.
Hmm?
How's your budget?
It's tough to say. I mean, I think they had spent, when I looked at the accounts, it looked like about half of what they had been, but I don't know, what parts of that they've spent yet. Also in Hillside Park, they have installed the Rube Goldberg STEM play panels in November. So that project is actually done and they just need to submit a final report for us. For Rocky Mountain Park and Highland Park Trail wayfinding, I guess this is another one, like Donna was just saying, where basically they had to do all of this mapping of the trails before they decided where to put the wayfinding, which makes sense. My understanding is that the mapping is just about done, but they have not spent any CPA funding yet. So they're hoping to do the actual wayfinding signage in the spring or summer. Bike racks at parks, same thing, still deciding on the final locations of the bike racks. And then they will need Conservation Commission approval or maybe have already asked for that. But that's the bureaucracy behind that. And that is also one that hasn't spent any of their CPA funds yet.
Can I ask another silly question? Who is the they in all of these? When you say they, like
So far, it's the recreation department. These are all recreation.
all recreation department?
Yeah.
But they weren't all put forth by the Recreation Department. The Highland Park Trail Restoration was a citizen that submitted. And whenever someone does a CPC application, they have to partner with a city department. These things have to be on city land. So that one, also the bike racks was
Bike
another
rack.
individual application that then partnered with the recreation.
So do we ever check to see that group that they're partnering with has the resources and the depth to do what the citizens are asking them to do?
That's part of this process.
I mean, if we're putting things on the recreation department, it has two guys in a broom, you know, how do we expect it to get done? Do we do that?
One of the things we ask is that they have to have a relationship with in the case of the recreation department, they have to have a relationship with the recreation department. You can't do anything on recreation
I
department.
understand, but I mean, but if we're telling, if we're putting things on the recreation departments, and this year we're gonna put in bike racks, we're gonna do trails, they have the resources. Do we find out that they have do they come in and?
Yes, they come in, yes, they come
And they
in.
say, yes, we can, no,
Yes,
we can't.
yes.
We're not the ones who put that on them. They come and request money from
No,
us. so
Donna
that-
said it was a citizen application.
Yes, but the
That
citizen
put that
is,
onto the rec department, because the rec department's gonna do the work. The
this-
citizens didn't go out and
The
hire.
rec department doesn't do the work.
the citizen is required to work with the recreation department and make sure that, because the recreation department does end up doing coordination around it and sometimes work. But yeah, it has to be cleared through the rec department before it'll move forward.
Last year, we had one application that had not been at all done, nothing had been done with the recreation department, and we rejected it because it had not cleared those hurdles.
So if a citizen comes forward, like the bike rack thing,
Mhm.
and they have this relationship with the recreation department, but it's really their responsibility, the citizen, to hire the people who are gonna put the bike racks in. Is that what you're
No,
saying, Donna?
the record department hires the people,
Why?
but because it is city land and it is city
Why can't we just
responsibility.
get them to sign off on it? If the rec department says this is a good project, we like it, then the people putting the application go hire Joe Smith bike rack and they get it put in under budget why do we care? Why does the rec?
Has the money to put out.
Because the city is ultimately responsible.
I agree, but if the city signs off on it and says this is we agree with this application, we like this idea, we're perfectly fine with who you're gonna use, let us know who you're gonna use. And they say, yep, we know that company, they're perfectly.
I think
fine.
that's negotiated by the rec department.
Interesting.
You know, it's not negotiated by us. That's their call.
So it may just be that the rec department has too much to do and hasn't gotten around to the bike rack issue? Is that part of it? It's like a timeline thing? Yeah,
It seems pretty
There are
simple.
4 people in the recreation department.
exactly.
If you've gone to the parks, if you've gone to the fireworks, if you go to Winter Carnival, Jingle Fest is this weekend, yeah, they're busy. They run after school programs, they're super busy.
Look, I'm also for supporting the rec department, but I'm saying if we're putting things on them that they really can't manage, that's an injustice to them, it's an injustice to us, because we're not doing.
We're not
if
putting
they-
anything on them.
No.
Well, we are, we are, they have to have the relationship, so they're
We're not
coordinating.
putting anything on them. Somebody asks for money, they say, yes, we want it to do that project. They either
And-
do it or don't.
Yeah, and they do, but they're also busy. I mean, that's,
It's a time.
Yeah.
But it's,
No,
but
it's
if-
under
it's a
budget and
balance.
the Town doesn't
Christie-
give anything to it.
right, if Christie came in here and said, we don't want to do that, then it's a dead project because it can't be done on city land. And there was one last year where the people who proposed it had not talked to anyone at the rec department, had not talked with anyone in the project overall. And just, it was a nice idea. They wanted to do it. They put it in and we rejected it because it did not have.
I don't disagree with that, but it just seems to me that seems inefficient.
we have a rec
welcome to government.
department that likes to take on a lot. And,
Yeah, but-
you know, as a recreation commissioner, I've been like, you really shouldn't have to do so much, but they sign up for it, so.
So wait, I just want to say too, the Conservation Preservation Commission, not just here, but around the state, people come in from the community and they request money. We're not putting that on them. Just a minute, please don't interrupt me. We are not putting anything on them. What we are doing is saying, if you want to do that, you need to go to the correct department And then the department says yes or no, but they're not necessarily putting that on them, nor are they necessarily saying that they're gonna do it.
What I mean
So-
by putting it on is we're agreeing to fund a project. And then that project is being handed off to the recreational department to implement.
The,
That's what I mean by putting it.
no, but the,
But you are still-
you
you're not
got
doing
the,
it yet.
you got the process wrong. The person
what are we
goes to the rec
rather
department.
Or do we want to
Person
fight about
goes to
this?
the rec department and says, this is what I would like to do. The rec department at that point makes a
Say yes or
decision,
no.
yes or no. Then they come to us and we say yes or no on the money.
Okay.
Okay, so that the rec department has already said, this is something good. If you can get the money to do this, we'd like to do it.
Okay.
So so we're not saying, we've got money here, now you gotta do it.
But Susan, they're not necessarily saying, we would like to do it like Christie would like to do it. They're saying, we would like to have this done.
And then
in some cases, in a lot of cases, it's not done by the rec department.
Right.
But they think they can trust the people who have come in and asked, and that those people will follow through and do what it is.
That's correct, but the rec department makes a decision about whether they're gonna do it, whether they're gonna hire someone else to do it.
Mhm.
You know, all that kind of, and that's all part of that process. But it's not something that we are saying to the rec department, we've got money here, now you have to do it. That's
I
not,
don't think that's what you were saying. That's not how
That's-
I heard it initially.
That's fine. We'll let it go.
Okay, we're at 6:31. Do you want to stay here and finish up these few things, or do you want to call it a day?
And what are the?
That's the rest of
Rest
the
of the project.
pickleball court security deposit.
I would like to hear
Okay,
this.
I'd like to hear it.
all right. Go for it, Anna.
Stop me if I'm moving too fast. Pickleball court expansion. So this was a contract that the rec department has with Berkshire to design, to draft the plans and bid ready documents for pickleball at Abercrombie Field. According to their report, they hope to have bid ready plans by the end of this calendar year. That is imminent, so we will see, but they are close to the full design for that, and they have expended most of their funds. Security deposit and rental assistance fund. I just mentioned this because it was cool that we got one payment out there. So one individual has been assisted so far with that. They received, I believe, it was just over $2,000 for security and first and last. So a significant chunk, but a huge help to that
Pay
person.
people's rent out of the committee?
The security, not rent, right?
Well, they said first and last month.
Yep. Yeah, that's for the purpose of letting them move in, right? So, this was, I think, I understand quite a back and forth with the Community Preservation Coalition last year, but that type of project, which is support that would be the deciding factor between whether somebody is housed and not, is allowed. And that's in contrast to like what we were talking about earlier with the reserve study. Jack, did you have any?
No, I think you covered it well. This person would have been homeless without this assistance, and they didn't qualify for raft. So this was using it exactly how the committee last year wanted to see it, and the public feedback asked us to do. So I think it was a big win.
Thank
And
you.
there's an additional one for this year, right? Because
Additional.
last year there was some discussion about like, could we up it? And there was a lot of community support for having it be more.
Yeah, and so that's why we came back, and I'm sure there will be questions when we get to that, but we did come back based on that feedback last year.
That qualifies in our little grid as something that's valuable.
Housing.
Anybody's rent.
Housing.
Yeah.
It
Housing
really-
support.
How does it preserve housing?
It's not just preserving housing.
There's a grid.
I saw the grid. I'm just saying, how does it fit in housing?
It fits in the square that said support.
Support.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
Also on housing, Habitat for Humanity's home on Birch Street finished their site work this fall. So they've been paid most of their CPA contract, but we keep a 10% that they will get paid when the project is done. It's wicked cool. Jack and I got to go for a habitat build day and make a little table. It looks awesome. And I don't know if this was shared with the committee, but they did their lottery, their process of filling the home, and the person who is going to be moving in is being displaced from her apartment right down the road,
Yeah,
which is
right next door.
just really kind of
Yeah.
amazing.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. And lastly, the Wells Street shelter expansion, speaking of projects from 2023, we have finally chipped in our CPA funding, so that is about to be closed out. As far as we're concerned, they're about halfway done with the construction is what they're reporting now. You can see our banner on the outside. It's really cool to see it progressing, and they still plan to be done with the PSH units by May of next year.
Yeah,
Wow.
late May, early June, we can expect that there will be people living there.
Amazing.
Wait, not in 2026.
2026, late May, early June, there will be people living in both the shelter and in the new apartments.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
Yay.
And that's all I have.
Okay, any questions for Anna on any of those? Okay, with that, we have talked about when our next meeting is going to be, so I will entertain a motion.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor? Okay, we're good. Okay, thank you very, very much. We'll see you in January. Have
Yes.
lovely holidays, everybody.
Thank you. Take care.